Welcome back to the Weekly Manga Podcast. This is the podcast where we talk about all of your favorite ongoing Japanese manga. This week we have a cool new violent fantasy series by a former assistant of the Chainsaw Man author that's called Centuria. We will also be chatting about Sachi's Book of Revelations in a cute new chapter, and we're going to bring DogsRed Chapter 23 because it is the most Golden Kamui thing I've read since Golden Kamui. All that, manga news, and more coming right up. Hello again, my name is Bruce. I am the proprietor of the White Gray Black YouTube channel, and this week I am joined again by my constant co-host, Gautam.
Hello, hello.
A quick little violence warning for Centuria as we go through it. There's some violence in these pictures we're going to have up on screen, so if you are listening, don't worry about it. If you are watching, there is going to be a timestamp on screen right here, which you can skip to skip straight to Sachi. So let's talk about that. So with that, let's get into talking about Centuria. Gautam, let's just do a quick little thing. How did you feel about this chapter 1 of Centuria?
It's a solid start. I thought it was pretty good. What did you think?
I liked it. I didn't think it was perfect by any means, but I thought the art was really, really good. And I did think that it was a strong sort of a statement first chapter that introduced some of the ideas and the cool magic systems, however you want to say it. I thought it was good. Yeah. Imperfect. I have one kind of major issue with its storytelling in general. It had, it's like an 80-page first chapter that I think could have been 40. but overall, I did think that it was really good. So a quick...
I think we might have had the same problems, but yeah. I'd like to hear what you think.
We'll go through it. Yeah, I'll do a little sort of chapter recap though. If you want, you can of course go and read this for free on the Jump Plus app. I would highly advise it. I think this is a good first read chapter. Essentially, the first couple of pages, we have our MC, who's this kind of light-haired boy, kills somebody, runs away. We find him on a boat along with a bunch of other slaves, and they're like, "Oh, we can't take another slave. We don't have enough food. We already have 100 slaves on here." And a pregnant mom is like, "I will split my portion." This is maybe my other big issue with this is like the most obvious death flags I have ever seen in a chapter 1.
I don't think that's an issue for me. I think it was pretty blatant. It was blatant, but I don't think the author was trying to subvert anything.
Yeah, no subversion here. You see the pregnant mom who's like, "I will it's we'll go through it because I grabbed some of the pages from it, but my God, every page in the middle that she is on, she throws up a different kind of the exact same death flag where it's like, "Oh, I used to have a son just like you," and all this stuff. Anyways, yeah, they sort of do some talking. Obviously, most of this chapter in the middle is this pregnant mom and our MC kind of chatting. Our MC's name is Julian. The mom's name is Mira. So most of the chapter is Julian and Mira kind of connecting, and he cleans this knife that she has that belonged to her, I think her husband. Julian is very much it almost borders on that kind of edgy, no one's ever loved me and I won't ever love everyone, but he's very much just sort of I've never known compassion. I think my big issue with this is kind of the pacing and the repetition and the way that Julian just kind of tells us over and over again. He's like, "I don't know compassion. Yeah. No one has ever loved me, so I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't know what love is." He just kind of states it over and over again that he doesn't know it, and we aren't really shown any of it. He just tells us, which is my big issue.
I think that's also an issue. I think it would be perfect if you just left it at that page and then showed that he doesn't fully understand, but he wants compassion. Just a show don't tell, instead of him saying everything out loud, right?
Yeah.
He's so incredibly honest and in touch with how he feels about given situations that it's a little bizarre. He's like, I'm afraid that I'll never understand the connection between a mother and child, a deep bond such as that. It's like, I don't think I've ever reflected upon my own problems and hit the conclusion right on the head. So
exactly,
so concisely. Given his situation and how he doesn't understand feelings, he is so in touch with his feelings.
Yeah,
that it's a little bit odd.
Yeah, I think that's actually the part that maybe doesn't make this work, that maybe that's actually the bigger issue. It isn't necessarily that he's like stating that he has all these issues. It's that he's telling us that. And then what's being shown is that, well, he's incredible. Like he doesn't understand love. He doesn't understand a mother's love, but he somehow is like incredibly empathetic and incredibly kind and in touch with all these things. And it's like, wait a minute, you're telling me this guy has never known love and has been a slave all his life, but he is able to just be kind and show love to other people. That's kind of like in direct opposition to what he's telling us his character is. So
yeah,
that's kind of the big issue.
It's just really funny, like how he hits the nature of humanity like concisely. Yeah. He's just like, what it means to be human is to form relationships and connections with other human beings, and forming a strong connection such as this is like the greatest thing. It's like,
but I won't be able to do it. It's like, okay.
It's like, I fear I won't be able to do it. It's like,
yeah,
dude, you clearly get this shit a lot better than most people. How are you this character that has never felt that, like, never been treated well? It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit awkward in that regard, but I think it was. We're coming off as bitching too much.
It doesn't
just that
ruin the whole
I liked
chapter.
a lot of this. I liked a lot of this, and this is like my one focal point of like weirdness.
It doesn't ruin the whole chapter for me. Certainly, it makes me a little hesitant to, again, like I said, I think this is a really good first chapter. I don't think this is like a great or excellent. This is not S tier to me, and it makes me concerned for the continuing of the series, because while this was a strong first chapter, I think in general, you usually get, the first chapter is usually a stronger chapter than what comes after if the author is not skilled, I guess I will say, right? Even some series that we have liked or disliked, usually the first chapter is like, well, that was okay, I'll keep up with it, read 5 or 6 more pages, okay, it's not good. That's how most things go for me, right? First chapter is like, well, that's interesting, I'll try it out. So this one, I am sort of concerned that if I am continually just sort of have Julian telling me how he feels at all times and it not showing me at all ever, that is going to grate on me. But yeah, like I said, it doesn't ruin the whole chapter. The art's great. Look at this. Look at this shit.
It's weird that I think this would have been better if our MC talked less. But I do think, the art was phenomenal. I love the setting, and I love kind of
the fantasy of it, which we'll get there.
The fantasy
pretty soon.
But I also like, I know our issue is Julian saying out loud what he probably should have just shown through his actions. But I love establishing that it's like he wanted love in his life and a maternal figure, and he's a found family situation. That's all good stuff.
Yeah. Classic storytelling things.
I actually, okay, so here's a subversion that I don't know if it was an actual subversion, is that the mom said, it's like, oh, well, slaves feel a lot of compassion because we were never given that, right?
Yeah.
And I fully expected one of the slaves, like the slave coughing to like betray the others, but there was no betrayal. They were all just absolutely having each other's backs throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, very sort of, there's no yin and yang, there's no gray area. It's kind of black and white. All of the slaves are good and all of the other guys are bad. And
the pirates.
And when we get to this kind of, the pirates, when we get to this sort of end sequence here where it's like, oh, we're heading into the storm that we thought we were avoiding. And the pirates are basically just like, okay, well, we got to lighten the load, kill all the slaves, all of them. Like not like kill 10 of them and see if that's enough weight, kill all of them. So they just
go on this purely a weight thing. That's what I thought. So it's purely just, okay, got it.
It is, well, it serves a dual purpose. And this is kind of maybe a better point of storytelling in that they could throw, let's say, like their food stores or anything else they were shipping, or the slaves, but clearly they don't, the slaves is the thing that they value the least and is the easiest thing to throw overboard for them. And that dehumanizes them in a way, right? So, which makes the bad guys even badder, which is good. I think that's fine. It is one of these kind of convenient chapter 1 things where it's like, we've killed all the slaves, but all 100 of them protected this new child and the pregnant mother, and they're the last 2 left. It's like, okay, great. That's the slaves have made themselves plot.
I don't mind that plot convenience too much. But it is really kind of, they're really stupid pirates because like the lackey was like telling his captain about this ancient eldritch beast that required sacrifices that they're driving by. It's like and the guy was like, hey, just shut up about that, bro. throw all the slaves overboard. I'm not paying attention to your shit right now.
Yeah, very much just kind
I
of.
love that.
Is
I felt like that was like intentionally a little bit funny, you know, like the author went for a slight gag there.
It's a little bit of just like, these guys are idiots. I think a lot of what so like nothing in this chapter 1 is permanent except for, as we're about to see, the baby and Julian, right? So I think it's okay to just kind of be like, well, these guys are idiots and it was all their fault, and because they're not important after chapter 1, so who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, very into the chapter here, we get into the sort of cool
I love this
Cthulhu mythos so cool. type kind of, you know, Kraken tentacle monster. I really like, man, I know it's only chapter 1. It's one of those things to be like, man, if they animated this where it's like, oh, you know, like choppy seas at night, and then all the like raindrops are frozen in midair, and it's just black background, and these tentacles reach over the side. The imagery of this is awesome, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, this was so fucking cool. I love this, and I loved how the creature looked. Like,
it's very neat. Yeah, it's It you think at first it's like, oh, it's a little humanoid, and then it like opens its face, and it's like, not really, like kind of not really, which is kind of
with an octopus maw. Yeah,
and just, you know, writhing mass of tentacles. I think one of the things that makes this chapter work, even though we kind of have that issue at the start, the beginning, where it's a lot of telling and it's kind of obvious foreshadowing and stuff, is that the final, you know, quarter or third of this chapter is really sick. Like the art in it, this Cthulhu monster coming through, the whole scene in the storm is excellent. At the end of the chapter is really good, and having a good ending makes you remember something more. And so I think that does a lot of credit to this chapter 1. So
it was a little bit. I didn't feel like the main character and the mom loved each other, but I think this is like, it had to be done this quickly because it's chapter 1.
Yeah.
You can't really establish their relationship that well, but I wish maybe that they did like a mini time skip on the boat, you know, like a 2 months of sailing later kind of a thing, you know?
Yeah, well, and it's one of those things that it's like, maybe there was one, maybe there wasn't. Again, I think the middle, like the whole middle section of this series is kind of just filled with like 4 or 5 kind of repetitive scenes where it's like, there's like the knife cleaning thing. They're like talking about, he has the scene where Julian has his hand on the mom's belly and the baby. There's another scene where she just like holds him. They go up to the top. There's like 4 or 5 scenes in a row that are essentially just the same scene, which is this mother is compassionate and cares for people and is teaching Julian what that means. And it just kind of repeats itself 4 or 5 times. And that's kind of supposed to, and like repetition is okay. But I do think that like you could have cut out like all but 1 or 2 of those and done something else in the middle, or done a time skip. Like I was saying at the start, this is like an 80-page chapter 1. I think this could have been 45 pages. Like you could have cut out most of the middle stuff. Like you could have had Julian cleaning the knife for her and having that kind of compassion, and then the mom doing like hand on the belly, and like those 2 scenes, and then none of the other scenes, and then skip to the end. And like, it's just a tighter story.
Well, I don't know. Well, I agree, but I think the point is to establish their relationship so that the sacrifice is heavier. But instead, it felt repetitive, like you said.
Yeah, I think so.
I think like a small time skip, maybe have them establish their mother-son dynamic a little bit more before this. But that's okay. I thought this whole part was insanely metal. Why does the sea? Why does the sea want this from him?
Yeah, I mean, it's
you bastard, you asshole sea god. Either way, I don't think that part needs an answer. It's unknowable because it's an eldritch creature. But yeah, very cool, very cool.
It's a very cool ending, and we get sort of, again, this was maybe my favorite part. I liked how intense it was that the mom was just like, she has a knife, she's about to give birth. She's like, okay, like I was talking with one of my friends about Prometheus, the movie. Have you ever seen the Alien prequel?
Yeah, I have seen it. I thought it was pretty good.
There's I talking about it 4 or 5 days ago. And there's a really intense, essentially like C-section scene.
Yeah.
Yes. And that like talking about that a couple days ago and then reading this, I was like, okay, like I'm twofer on these intense C-section scenes, which are, it just like, it gets under my skin in a good way. And that is like, it scares me and it's creepy.
What they did to that character made me hate Alien Covenant, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. I never saw Covenant, but yeah.
But I thought it was cool that, Julian sharpening her knife is what enabled her to make this sacrifice on his behalf. So while it was still kind of a haunting moment for him, by being compassionate, he saved his own life. Kind of a thing, right? Like his first show of yeah, exactly. He saved both of their lives by his first ever show of compassion. Which I think delivers the theme of this series way better than saying it out loud. Like it had been doing. I think like the action of her using the knife to cut out the baby should be like the thing that establishes the theme instead of saying it over and over.
Yeah, right. I agree. I think that the mother cutting the baby out and sacrificing herself is a stronger presentation of the same theme, which we have been told about, for 60 pages or whatever, than all the times that it was just telling us, which I think you're absolutely right. Which again, I think is why the ending, the last, third of this chapter 1 works a lot better than the other parts. And I think why it all kind of lands is that, well, we are suddenly shown, a mother's care for her daughter means I will give my life for her. And she just doesn't. Like, she doesn't necessarily say like, I mean, she does kind of say like, I'm giving my life for you and my daughter, but it's like, I don't know. She like the action she takes is a lot more poignant than that. So.
Yeah. I agree. I thought it was a very cool moment. I also love the power like he gets from it. It is the power based on the sacrifices made. So he gets 100 slaves died. So he gets 100 slaves.
The strength of 100 men, the speed of 100 people. Yeah.
But he lost one of the lives. Does that mean he only has 99 power, 99 speed? 99?
Yeah. When I saw people talking about this, that is definitely sort of a theory where it's kind of like, okay, he'll be very strong and then he'll lose a couple and he'll slowly, not be able to protect Diana as much or something over time. I don't know. Maybe.
Get weaker as it goes.
That would be an interesting limitation to put on the power, which I would appreciate. I don't know if this series is going to go into that or not. But yeah, I do think the power and the action stuff at the end definitely seemed really cool. Like this whole panel set right here on screen where it's, he's kind of got the power, his eyes look cool and he like looks at a guy, there's an explosion. And these bottom two panels on the right page, right, where it's like a guy and there's just like a flash and his friend is dragged away and he turns around. It's just like, what? And the guy's like holding him against the wall. Very, very cool paneling. I like this a lot.
I liked it too. This is the edgy part of the chapter, and I thought it was perfectly edgy because after the slaves died, you see like all their bodies, and they've all just been stabbed. But when the pirates died, when Julian kills the pirates, you see like their jaws on missing. Yeah. Look at that dude in the top right.
This is the like why I put the warning for violence is like because this page, which is a gorgeous spread by the way, but also very violent. So
yeah, he's like fucking all of their faces up. He's like mutilating all of their faces. It's brutal and cathartic and just good.
Yeah.
And Julian throws like the captain's final words back at him. Or before he killed the slaves, it's like use your brain or whatever.
Yeah.
Cool. And I love like the eldritch creature being like the sea is no longer your enemy. It'll take you wherever
you have like safe passage or whatever. Yeah. It's one of those. Yeah. Again, it's the neat we're seeing this kind of more often. I mean, we talked last week about like sort of like other, or maybe 2 weeks ago about other sci-fi fantasy stuff. Like relating to sort of like SCPs and Cthulhu mythos stuff. It's neat that science fiction and fantasy, I mean, this hasn't necessarily been true for like Western science fiction fantasy novels or TV shows for a while, but it is cool to see on TV and now in manga specifically, we're getting more of the kind of weird stuff. Like it isn't
we
just,
should have gotten
it's
the
aliens.
Weird stuff a while ago, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I mean,
cool. If you think of the Cthulhu mythos stuff, those books are like almost 100 years old now. Like I think they're 80. I think they're from the 40s.
By the way, before we wrap up our conversation on this one, I haven't read the comments on like online on any of this yet. But have they mentioned what's happening to the baby? I didn't quite get why the baby has powers.
Does the baby have powers? I didn't think it did.
Oh well, his in that page that we're looking.
Oh, now that you say that, I just looked. Yeah.
Yeah, the wrist crackling. I don't know. I guess both of them might have gotten powers because the baby wasn't one of the 100 slaves. I don't know.
I mean, but I didn't even notice that, but that's a really good call out. And that makes me interested to read chapter 2. Is it going to explain that? Maybe it's every, life that the Julian gives, the baby gets one, human stronger or whatever. Maybe it's a transfer between them or something.
That'd be a cool premise. Yeah.
That'd be interesting. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's kind of funny. Like, even if Julian loses 98 lives and only has 2 left, he's still probably the strongest human being in the world because he's as strong and fast and has the reflexes of 2 humans. It's just
I mean, I would say at 4 humans, you're getting pretty
you're super strength already.
2 humans is okay. There's strong men, who can lift thousands of pounds that are as strong as 3 or 4 humans. But when you're at 4 or 5 standard humans strength or whatever.
That's already obscene. I think 100 is you're almost at Saitama's strength, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hey, Saitama, 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, 10 kilometers a day. The Saitama workout, it's the same idea.
He's the eldritch being, maybe. I don't know. That's
now,
a coincidence? I think not.
What a wild crossover that would be.
I know. I don't know. I think it's a good start. It's a good start. Mm-hmm. It was a little stilted. It was a little wooden.
Yeah, a little stilted, a little padded, but still like we said, I think it ends really strongly. I think that I didn't even see the baby thing, but that makes me more interested now to keep reading it. I think the art is fantastic.
Everything else about this. Yeah. Aside from same. Stilted dialogue a little bit, I think everything else works, including the premise, setting, and characters. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'll be really interested to see how this pans out. If it'll be more kind of adult violent action, or if we'll go more shonen side, right? Does he meet? I guess in chapter 2, if an annoying sidekick character shows up, we know that we're going down the action shonen route. And if more people just die in a bloody way, probably more of the Vinland Saga type thing.
We're definitely going to see more blood and
violence, for sure,
because you don't give a character 100 lives without taking away a little life.
And then he became a math teacher in the town.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and
math teacher.
And there's also, there's a lot of cool questions opened that aren't kind of directly stated. It's okay, where in the world are they? Is he going to wash up in Europe, in Japan, in America? What's kind of the time frame? I mean, I get that it's kind of like a fantasy world, but this strikes me as very kind of like 17, it's like slave trade days, right?
But this doesn't exist in our world, right?
I wouldn't think so, but I guess I'm interested in what type of place are they going to land in? Is it going to be, is it a high fantasy, everyone knows magic and dragons? Is it low fantasy, Game of Thrones style? Is it a Japan style place? Is it a Western? I don't know.
I think this is low fantasy because no one implied that they had magic aside from our main character and his Cthulhu powers. But if it is low fantasy, then who is going to compete with the guy who has 100 people's worth of strength?
Yeah, I mean, it might just be. I mean, it could just be kind of a superhero going through fixing people's problems. That
would suck.
Unfairness or unrest. Yeah, I don't know, but there's a lot of questions. I think it's good for a chapter 1 to sort of tell a complete story, which I think this chapter 1 did, and leave us with questions and interest to come back, which I think this chapter 1 also did. So that's
agreed.
I'm on board to read more of this, and I hope it continues up its quality here.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a strong start, and I'm looking forward. I think maybe our issues with it are due to this being the pilot chapter and it needing to fit a lot in order for it to work. I'm looking forward to see where it goes from here, now that the author has some breathing room.
Same. Yeah, absolutely. So that was Centuria, chapter 1. That's by an author called Toru Kuramori. So I mentioned it in the opening, but Toru Kuramori was an assistant to Fujimoto, who does Chainsaw Man. Of course, we know he was an assistant on Goodbye Eri. So Fujimoto is, in case if you aren't up on Fujimoto's ex-assistants being wildly successful, in the list of ex-Fujimoto assistants who are doing big things now, the author of Dan to Dan is an ex-Fujimoto assistant. I believe he worked on Fire Force. The author of Spy Family, I think, also worked on Fire Force as an ex-assistant. So, I mean, Spy Family is larger than Chainsaw Man by this time, I would say.
Spy Family is maybe bigger than most things. at the moment.
An enormous property now.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think if there was another one. I definitely know those two, and then this Centurion author here. So I
mean, was it the Dandadan author?
Yeah, Dandadan author was that's the one that I mentioned first.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we have 3 now at least. I feel like there's a 4th one, but I don't remember exactly. But yeah, so if you want to get famous, go be an assistant to Fujimoto.
Easier said than done, maybe, but yeah,
is the answer.
I agree.
All right, cool. Any last thoughts on Centuria? Or are we good to move on?
Yeah, we're good to move on. And cool. Speaking of the depths of humanity and their sins, we Sachi's Book of Revelations.
Yeah.
If you haven't read this manga, it's a cute and fun one. We've covered it, I think, once before.
We covered its opening chapter, I think, 6 months ago or so.
As you can see, it's more or less a shitpost. It is basically, there's this little girl named Sachi. She's a total brat. And an angel and a devil are there to use her as the basis to rank humanity. And basically decide if humanity is worth keeping around or not. This chapter is about this bad boy who is trying to corrupt her a little bit. Who's like, you should just quit this whole humanity's judgment things. That's my advice as your senpais, implying he's gone through the same process before.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like your classic dickhead character, untucked shirt because he's like a rebel.
Yeah, untucked shirt, long hair for like a Japanese school kid or whatever.
Oh yeah, like fuckboy hair, dyed, all that shit.
He's got an earring.
Yeah. So he's like set up to be an asshole, kinda. So he effectively kidnaps Sachi, and he's like, I'm gonna show you how to be bad and do whatever you want.
Yeah. And then most of the chapter is a bunch of little vignettes like this one. I didn't grab all of them, but
yeah, it turns out he's just kind of an idiot.
He's like not that bad. He's
like really not.
Does like minor inconvenience and then apologizes for them like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, so he like takes all of the pre-samples, it's a dick move, and then he's like eating with Sachi outside of the convenience store.
And they're like, hey, you can't eat out here. And he's like, okay, sorry, and leaves.
And she's like, are you supposed to apologize like that? And he's like, well, only if people tell me off. And okay. And then he goes to like a mattress store and sleeps on the bed. And the clerk is like, are you going to buy anything? He's like, no. And then he's like, okay, sorry, I'll leave. And it's like a few of them like that.
Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 of them that are funny.
You could tell he's just like a guy who really cares what people think and is generally empathetic. He just is trying not to be.
Yeah.
And effectively he reveals that his angel and devil who are bringing him as a little kiddo just upped and left one day. And Sachi gets it. It's like they were his friends. Sachi's a good kid. Even though she is an actual brat. She's kind of a nightmare, but she's a good kid.
Yeah.
And she gets it, and she's like, wait. He's like, they left, and then you moved to another house. Maybe they wrote you a letter to your old address. And he's like, what?
He's like, wouldn't the letters just be at your old address? He's like, no way. And they just like go to his old house and
yeah. And there was a box full of letters, and now he's happy again. He's like, okay.
Yeah, he's like, I have to go buy a postcard. It's kind of like the ending. The ending of the chapters, essentially.
But I did like his what he said at the end there. He had like one moment of poignancy. It's like, don't let yourself be tied down with good or bad. Just have a little fun along the way.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like it. It was a solid chapter. It was sweet. It was so stupid. Like every chapter.
Yeah, good jokes, fun times. I'm like, I don't even read this week to week, and this is a series that you can just kind of, if you read the first chapter or two and you get the premise, you can just kind of jump at any time. Like, oh yeah, cool, funny little vignette for this week.
Yeah, it's fun and funny. I enjoy it. I like the angel and devil are opposite of his, where the angel is sketchy and shady, and the devil is like very by the rules and kind of a good guy all around.
Yeah. I don't remember. I a picture of it, but yeah. Yeah, it's good. I like this is kind of a trope that I'm like a sucker for, where it's like I don't even know how to describe it. Like the old version of what the new main character is like.
Yeah.
Like if you played like Twilight Princess, where it's like so like the old skeletal like guy that teaches you all the sword moves in Twilight Princess is like heavily implied to be like a Link from like times past.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. I mean, because he knows all the Link sword moves that he teaches you, and he like has a sword.
That's fucked up. Links live a dark life. Like,
yeah, well, he's like a failed version, but I don't know. Something about the sort of like, oh, I was, I was the prior, I was the chosen one before you, right? Like this is an idea like in Avatar too, right? Where it's like,
right,
the Avatar can speak to all of the past avatars that have like been through, their own thing, but something similar to what he has. And there's like a connection there. That's just like, I don't know, that's like a cool trope that I like where it's like, oh yeah, I was the chosen one before you were. So it's like, it's cool. It works in this.
And it was, I think it's like a wholesome, nice little ending to just a shitpost of a series, as I said before.
But a really funny series,
It's really funny, yeah. And she's drawn like a little gremlin because she acts like a little gremlin the whole time. So, yeah, go check it out. It's a light read.
Yeah, really good one. I'm always happy to dive back into this one.
Yeah, me too.
Anything else on Sachi's Book of Revelations?
Not just a quick one.
Cool, yeah. All right, let's get into another shitpost of a series. This is DogsRed by Satoru Noda. This is chapter 23. Gautam, were you able to read this one real quick?
No, I'm a bit behind. I haven't caught it. Okay. What? There's always a fucking bear, huh?
Dude, that's okay. I opened by saying that this is the most Golden Kamui. This is the same author as Golden Kamui, right? And this is the most Golden Kamui chapter of this whole series so far. And yes, there is always a bear. I cannot tell you the amount of people in Golden Kamui who either get mutilated or like lose part of their face or get scarred or attacked by bears. Bears are like a constant threat in Golden Kamui, right? It takes place in Hokkaido, the northern island of Japan. So does this one. And they have actually been teasing this bear for like, I don't know, like 7 or 8 chapters. This high school hockey club has been doing like a training, like an outdoor training camp kind of thing. And the bear was teased like when they started the training camp. And I think they showed it maybe one other time. And they sort of like finished their first day of the training camp. And then like the bear shows up. And it's like chasing. God, and there's so much funny stuff in here. I couldn't even put some of the funnier pictures because in classic, like kind of Golden Kamui fashion, there's like nudity, which is wild. It's like a bunch of boys getting nude and being goofy. Like that's Golden Kamui and DogsRed. Even this first page just gets me. It's like they're all running away from the bear, and this guy is just like, what are those losers doing? He's like, hey, first shoes, where are you going? And they like see the bear, and then they're just running with him in like the very next panel.
I love it. No, nothing needs to be said. Just get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, Noda is also like, because he's drawn so many bears, he's like exceptionally good at drawing bears now. Like, like his bear is like, that looks like a photo scan bear, and it's like, it's not. I'm pretty sure he just drew it. I
can't tell if he loves bears or if he's terrified of bears, like the author.
So yes, the answer to your question is yes.
It's both.
Because I've read Golden Kamui and I cannot recommend that series enough. I think it is so good, so excellent. It isn't like a love-hate relationship, but there is like a love of like, the bear is incredibly important in Golden Kamui to the like native peoples that will kill bears. They sort of worship bears in a certain sense, but also they're incredibly dangerous. So there is like a reverence and respect that I think the author has for bears, and also they're fucking scary and they will fuck you up.
Right.
Well, yeah. So like, this is like, I don't have the page after this really, but
I love it.
The main character is like, I hate this place. It's the wild frontier. And the guy's like, take your clothes off, throw them away to distract him. And like the next page, which you don't see, is like the guy who's telling him to throw his clothes away is already stripped down and running. So he's already a naked guy running in the next page. But all these hockey guys are like, split up. If it eats one of us, it'll be full, and and then we can move on. And so they all split up, and it follows the MC. And this is another just one of these goofy pages where it's like, why is it following me? And it's like a quick flashback of like, you guys should wear deodorant. You smell like goats. It's like this, and then it's like, my fruity aroma is working against me. Shit.
And hey, a Heidi reference. I don't think anyone knows what a Heidi is.
I don't know what that is. Yeah, I don't get that reference. What is that from?
It's about a little girl who lives in the Alps with her grandpa.
Oh,
and that's about it. It's very cute and wholesome. And cheese.
That sounds familiar. I feel like I've seen that in like Blockbuster 20 years ago or something. But
when I lived in India as a little kiddo, I lived there for like 2 years, and they played Heidi all the time. So I'm the foremost expert.
That's funny. I didn't even pick up on that. I was like, oh, hey, I read this in the Japanese way of like, oh, hey, D farm. Like, what is that? But yeah, that makes sense too. But yeah, I mean, again, it's so goofy and it's so like intense. Like he just like runs up a tree and then like, wow, that dude can really move. Like he's a ninja. And he's like, I guess I can
bear's terrifying, dude. It's hollow eyes.
Yeah, no, the bears are almost always like that. You never see their pupils. They're always just like darkened. Almost all the sort of like scary northern wildlife in Golden Kamuy and in this series so far, although the bear's kind of the first thing.
The bear's scarier than the
They're all very
monster.
sort of, this is a funny, I don't remember if I grabbed the page, but like
his Naruto-ass tree run is pretty sick.
It's so good. It's so goofy. There's also like, I think it's on the page after this that I don't have, but he's like, I guess I could still run. I was stronger than the time. It's like, this is what Coach was talking about, like being able to push past the barriers. And then it's like the bear is there like nibbling on his shoes and stuff. And then this car comes out of nowhere. I love the bear in this top panel. It's so goofy. This is why this series is so good. Is it's like an incredibly dire situation of like a bear chasing a bunch of high school hockey players. And it's like played for laughs, but also like it's really tense because someone could get hurt. And that's like the same way Golden Kamuy is, where it's like, it will very quickly go before like this guy had his face ripped off to like, okay, now they're having fun and chasing the bear and it's being goofy.
And they both, the main character and the bear, got like rolled.
Yeah, they do like the Pooh Bear kind of roll off.
Yeah.
But it gets even wilder, which is even better. So this is like the coach, Coach Nihei is like driving this truck. It crashes in the tree. It explodes. you get the main character with the like blowback on his face from the explosion.
That's amazing. I love that.
It's so good. This chapter is so excellent. I had so much fun with this one.
That might be the panel I wouldn't like if I made this series. I would never think of the blowback panel, and I love it.
It's so good. Yeah, Noda is like, I know I talked about it weeks ago. I talk about it anytime I can. Golden Kamuy is so excellent in every regard. And like this guy knows how to just be fun and funny and amazing. I love it. I'm loving DogsRed. But yeah, and they're all like, Coach Nihei, and he like kicks the door open and he's rescued. He has this little Snoopy on the dash that you see earlier and he's like rescued the Snoopy from the dash, and they're all like, yeah, and they celebrate. And then the bottom, he's like rolling to put the fire out, and they're trying to he's like lit on fire. And then he immediately gets up and it's like, now sing the school song. And they all get up and sing the school song. And it's like, that's the end of the chapter.
Around the exploded van that's on fire.
Yeah, around the exploding van and tree. Yeah, it's so good. Like, Noda is just, he's on another level with.
Bro, I get why the bear ran away. I think this if I saw this shit, if I saw people act like this, I think I would run too.
Yeah,
it's like,
someone crashes their van, it explodes. Yeah,
it explodes and they all start singing the anthem. It's like that's so funny.
It's so good, man. I cannot. It just like it makes you smile. DogsRed and Golden Kamuy, they're so good. And DogsRed, I think a lot of people were a little kind of like hesitant on DogsRed because it was not at the same level. Golden Kamuy gets pretty quickly into like bears are scary, bears fuck you up. Also, it's fun and goofy. Like we're not eating like, I don't know. This one maybe took a little bit longer to get there. I think if you're a fan of Golden Kamuy, if you can make it this far, like to chapter 23, I think like we're back, baby. Like
I thought it was exceptional. I mean, like I did too. Golden Kamuy as context though, so I didn't have that shadow looming over this series as kind of like is it matching up to its predecessor kind of a thought, because I hadn't read it, but yeah, I thought DogsRed just had it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, the reason why I went back to read Golden Kamuy is because DogsRed started, 6 months ago or whatever, and I was like, wow, this is really good first, 4 or 5 chapters. Like excellent history, it's funny, it's goofy, and I went back and Golden Kamuy, it's on another level. It's in a level with like Full Metal Alchemist and a couple other things that's just like it does everything. It's so good.
This was a good chaser to the fucked up Centuria chapter 1.
Yes, yeah, that
we covered. This is like a nice little fun double shitpost chaser.
It's so good. I'm in love with this. This author can do no wrong for me now. I want to go back and see if they've done any other stuff because Noda is on another level. I love DogsRed. But yeah, it's excellent.
Yeah, clearly they have a great sense of humor. I should catch up soon.
There's not too much catch up on chapter 2.
Yeah, I have like 5 chapters. Alrighty, should we head on over to the news?
Yeah, let's hit the news. Cool, that's it from manga. Let's see what we got. So, the Promised Neverland author, Demizu Posaka, is going to publish a new one-shot titled Orin Monster Chronicle, Misanga Route. I think we talked about this maybe a couple weeks ago. That is coming out April 15th on the Jump Plus app. This is based on Konami's game Orin and will be an interactive vertical work with multiple story choices for readers. I believe the last report I saw on this was that it's related to this Konami game. It's vertical, sort of in the webtoon style, and that I think the readers are going to sort of vote on the path that it takes, maybe every week, maybe some weeks, or maybe at certain intervals or something. So it'll be an interesting thing. I hope we get that in the West. I hope we get the ability to vote on it. I I have mixed feelings on The Promised Neverland. I think it has maybe the greatest sort of intro arc I've ever read in maybe any series, and then it drops off a fucking cliff, and it's pretty garbage after that. But but I will not let that take away from how absolutely good that opening arc, essentially season 1 of Promised Neverland is, right? It's the whole, I think season 1
the author/artist is just incredibly talented, regardless of the series falling off. I think it ended up being one of those things where the idea took off so much that she felt like I think it's a she. Yeah, I think so too. She felt like she needed to keep it going and didn't have ideas for the rest. But I don't know. That's speculation on my part. Either way, she is like an exceptional artist. So
yeah, super great artist. I mean, a good story. She clearly knows how to tell a story. So yeah, I'm really curious about this. I'm curious about her using another sort of work that's already been established. And I'm curious if, I mean, I don't know. I'm curious to read this. It's coming out soon. So in about 4 days. Well, 4 days from this recording. So it might be out similar to the time you're listening to this. So watch out for that. That is called Orin Monster Chronicle. Also on Manga Plus, they have launched something called Manga Plus Universe for its 5th anniversary. This will be a way for people to share thoughts and chats on multiple works. This sounds like a bad idea or just a medium idea.
It is like not even worth thinking about. It's an idea, is how I feel. It's just an idea. It's like putting a comment section under your chapter. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
Let's there's nothing to discuss there. It's one of those things. It's like
it's definitely just like, okay, people who like stuff will say they like it. People don't like stuff will say they don't like it. And then what more is there to say? Like it's like, are they trying to capture a small portion of Twitter users in this? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this. Who knows?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna skip around a little bit. Let's talk about what got canceled in Weekly Shonen Jump. By the time you're listening to this, Mama Yu Yu ended last week. We didn't cover it because that series lost me about 2/3 of the way in. Yeah. I think it had a strong start. I do think Mama Yu Yu has the best paneling I have ever seen in a Weekly Shonen Jump series. I think the paneling was insanely creative, some really cool stuff. I think its storytelling didn't match up. I think every time that it tried to sort of pivot to recapture some audience or capture some new readers, I didn't like where it went. It essentially turned into a harem for the last, 8 or 9 chapters. They just introduced 7 new girls and they were all interested in the main character, and then it basically ended because it didn't work. But they made a couple of pivots at the end that I didn't like. It just didn't.
I can respect a pivot. Anything to keep your idea going. But at the end of the day, you're right. It's just I think it took too long to get off the ground for most people.
Yeah, and we were concerned about that. I think on the early chapters where we discussed it, seemed really good. It seemed like it had a lot of cool, interesting ideas, but wasn't sure if it was able to sort of grab people early enough, which I think is kind of why it fell off. I think the art also at times was a little rough for WSJ.
It didn't have the killer hook that it should have at the start.
Yeah, not really.
Because people can put up with a slow story or a slower start if it has a killer. Look at Full Metal Alchemist, right? The beginning of the story starts with the most killer hook, and then you follow the Elric brothers in their quest. And it's not fast paced. You're just invested in the Elric brothers now.
Well, and it also does something which I think, which we don't see enough of, in my opinion, which is calling out Full Metal Alchemist, is that it doesn't start at the start of the story. Full Metal Alchemist starts they've already, what's it called?
Lior?
Is it Lior? I think it's
Lior.
It starts in that desert town, and it does that full kind of complete arc, and it introduces you to the characters, the magic system, the world, what kind of people you're dealing with. And then it goes back and says, okay, here's where they come from. Here's them taking the test. Here's all the training they've been through. I really wish more chapters 1 did that, to give us just start in this is called the literary term for this is in media res, which essentially means in the middle of a story. Start in the middle of a story, tell a complete story, and then go back and tell us why we're there. If you have a really good setup story, which the chapter 1 of Full Metal Alchemist is awesome. It's essentially the first, I think 2 episodes maybe of the original anime, because Brotherhood skips it. So
to listeners, if you think it's unfair that we're comparing it to Full Metal Alchemist, it's not, because it seemed very inspired by Full Metal.
Oh yeah, for sure. It had the whole sort of we're going to the East, Central, West, very kind of World War II Germanic
and their technology.
Yeah, Mama Yu was It felt it wore on its shoulder its influence from Full Metal Alchemist. So yeah,
and that's totally fine. But you kind of need to match up in a few ways, right? It's like a bar you have to meet.
I do think this author has potential to come back again. We as we'll talk about in a little bit, we have some authors returning from sort of a year or two ago. I do think this author has a chance to come back with maybe a better idea, because their visual style, like I mentioned, their paneling. I think their paneling is like second.
Dude, I don't
or
even think
third
the idea was bad. I think the idea was also pretty good. It just didn't have a hook. Like in the first 10 chapters, there was no like killer hook that made me invested in the characters, and the main character's motivation was a little uninspired. I felt as well.
He just kind of wandered around for 10 chapters, like wondering why he's the hero, and stuff kind of happened to him. And it wasn't. Yeah, it had some issues. I do think it was a decently solid series. I see this one having a lot of fans on Twitter, which I think is good. I do think this author. I'm hoping the author, when or if they come back with a new series, I think if they can hit. I think you're right. If they can hit on a better hook, a better sort of start, a better intro to get people reading, and if they get more time to work with their story, I think they're a good storyteller. So,
agreed. I think they're at least very creative. So I hope for the best.
Yeah. On the other end, there is Two on Ice, which by the time you're listening to this will be canceled or likely canceled. That's going to end on its last chapter this upcoming Sunday from our recording date. I read maybe 5 or 6 chapters of this and dropped it.
I was not interested after chapter.
Yeah, this one I kind of got the angle they're going for, right? Getting a kind of sports romance coming of age thing.
Yeah.
Like that is what Weekly Shonen Jump, does or will try occasionally. Didn't hit the same highs as Blue Box. Didn't hit the same sport highs as, any other sport thing I've seen recently in the manga. Kind of rough art, some good action art, I will say, for the performances of the ice skating. But yeah, this one, I don't think this one even had a chance, unfortunately. It's sad, sad to see anything axed, of course, but yeah, this one didn't really stick with me. So
yeah, I think I'll forget this exists.
Yeah. It's forgettable, just like all the other things that are kind of were not very good or canceled. So knowing that those two things are on their way out, we have 3 new manga coming in the coming weeks. So in issue 20, which I believe is this upcoming Sunday. So this is either already out or about to come out when you're listening to this. We have Nagi no Astro, or Astro Royale. This is a series by Ken Wakui, who is the author of Tokyo Revengers. This is just listed as a supernatural delinquent series, which from what I understand is the exact same premise of Tokyo Revengers. And from what I've seen of the visual design, this looks exactly like Tokyo Revengers. So
it's the exact same premise as Yu Yu Hakusho too.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of delinquent
Bleach.
and Bleach, and we're there again. This is I do think, looking at this wave, this might be our wave that is 3 Bleach clones. So that's the first one we're getting. A week later, I think that'll be the week of that'll be like April 20th or something like that.
Did you read Revengers, by the way?
No, I did not. I've heard that it starts really strong. I can't get over the fact that nobody can get over, which is that like there's 6 foot tall, incredibly buff guys, and he's like 12. Like I just can't.
I can get over it if it's like JoJo, but it's like this is not as ridiculous as JoJo. But like, I don't know. I had other issues with the series, but I thought it was a creative opening. But I only read like 30 or so chapters.
I mean, it's wildly popular, especially in Japan. I don't know if just the West just maybe didn't jive with it as well or what. But in Japan, this sold gangbangers. I think all of last year when it ended, or maybe a year and a half ago when it ended.
I think the word you're looking for is gangbusters.
Did I see gangbangers?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a delinquent manga.
Gangbusters that is the word I was looking for. You're right. Okay, so week after that, issue 21, we are getting Kyokuto Necromance by Fusai Naba. So this is the author of Aliens Area. Kyokuto Necromance essentially means Far East Necromance. That's kind of a word used to refer to China, Taiwan in Japanese, from what I looked up very briefly.
Got it.
So that's
okay.
Yeah, we'll see. The visual design for all of these does not strike much confidence in me. I'm not a huge fan of Ken Wakui's style. The Aliens Area guy, I think, has kind of a very generic, sloppy, modern shonen style. Also, it also looks like kind of like a Bleach clone. I had a funny thing. when I first saw the original pictures for Astro Royale show like a guy with one of his arms that's magical, and I thought that was the one from Aliens Area, where the premise of Aliens Area is a guy gets like a magical alien arm and then goes and joins this like alien control group, the MIB essentially. And when I saw those two,
people do the cursed arm thing still. It's like such a chuny like.
I know, yeah, I don't love it.
Stereotype, right? Like I don't know. I guess I didn't like Aliens Area either. So I don't have high hopes, but I hope to be proven wrong as always.
Yeah, always happy to be proven wrong. And I hope, hopefully more experience and stuff gives them a better chance, I would say. So,
and it's promising to see these authors come back. Like Noise Exorcist is selling gangbusters as well.
Yes, selling gangbangers, yeah.
Selling gangbangers as well. Yeah, it's compared to like what was I think Bone Collection.
Yeah, which just flopped and did whatever 30 chapters or something. But
yeah,
giving these authors multiple chances is a good angle. I agree.
I'm happy to see it. Yeah, and it just gives me hope that the Ginka and Luna out there will come back.
Dude, yeah, I know. I mean, it's almost time for that. So Ginka and Luna was it's either 3 months or 6 months after. I think it must have been 6 months after the Aliens Area batch. So if they were coming back, they'll probably come back maybe fall this year. Or we might see them with something on Jump Plus or something. Yeah, I'm really interested because, Ginka and Luna, well, I don't know. It's actually probably like the third best canceled thing from WSJ that we've seen now that we've lost MMA and Tenmaku Cinema, which I think were both really good and should not have been canceled.
I'd put Ginka as the second of the listed three.
Do you think it was better than Tenmaku or?
Yeah, I think it was better than Tenmaku.
I think I can accept that. I do think MMA is probably the best thing that's gotten canceled in Jump in years. For sure. That series absolutely rocks, and I'm so sad. Still,
that was a damn shame. Yeah. Same with Ginka. I feel like all three of those. Ginka, I understand. I understand Ginka and Tenmaku more.
I do too. Ginka and Tenmaku. I get why those were canceled. They I could see their issues when I was reading MMA. I was like, this has no issues. This fucking rocks. This is awesome.
It was just great. That's the problem.
It was just I think really good.
Nobody cares about MMA.
Yeah, I don't maybe it didn't have the right kind of first chapter or something, but I don't know.
I thought that was great too. That was the fucked up part. I know. It's so weird.
I don't get it because that series was great. Okay, so that's issues 20 and 21. Issue 22 is a group chapter, and then what would be issue 23 is Golden Week, which I believe that's the first week of May. And then 24 is when we are getting the next thing, which is a series called Cycle Biori by Kobayashi Omusuke. This author has only a few one-shots out. They, I think, came in second or third place on some competitions, but they are not. This is sort of our new author of the batch. I didn't love the art I saw from this, but you can't judge a book by its cover, so who knows? So those are the three that we are getting in the coming series. That's essentially our three new manga. So Astro Royale by Ken Wakui, Tokyo Revengers author. Kyokuto Necromance by Fusai Naba, the author of Aliens Area. And then we are getting Cycle Biori by Kobayashi Omusuke. And that is essentially a new author. So,
yeah. Well, I have no hopes for any of these because I am judging a book by their cover.
I am a little bit too.
Yeah, but I'm willing to. The important part is I'm willing to reverse the judgment should I be proven wrong.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be proven wrong. Have we been proven wrong in the past? I don't know. MMA
sure
maybe. I think MMA we looked at and we're like, I don't know if this looks.
No, I had hopes because I read the sumo one.
Oh, you read Atsumari Sumo or whatever it's called.
I'm sure there's something that we said. I think Noe's Exorcist we said would tank. That's where we're proven wrong.
Well, we were proven wrong by the sales. I still don't. I guess I should go back and try to read it again, but I read 6 chapters of that and I still thought it was garbage. So I don't know. I don't know what people were latching onto in that series that made it sell so well, but
I'm okay with obstinately standing by our opinion. So let's just say that they're wrong and move on with our lives.
I mean, hey, Demon Slayer sold well enough to stick around, and I think that series is pretty garbagely written. So, and also,
I don't think it's garbage, but I think it's you're right, it's overrated.
Yeah, pretty overrated. Okay. Anyways, all right. Last piece of news today is if you're interested in buying things from Japan, the value of the yen is plummeting. I wrote this morning earlier in the day, and I wrote 152 yen to the dollar. When I was there in December, it was 136 yen to the dollar. So it's fallen another, what is that, 20% almost?
It was like 148 or something when I was there. Yeah.
Yeah, like a month ago. And I went to I was rechecking Twitter for all the new stuff, and I already saw a tweet where it's like, it's at 153 yen. So it has fallen, a 1 yen in the time that I wrote the original news source and when we're recording this episode. So all that to say, if you are interested in buying things from Japan, and you make dollars or even another strong currency like the euro or the pound, you have a lot of buying power in Japan. You essentially have 50% more buying power than you had 3 or 4 years ago in Japan. So if you're like a model collector, or if you like Japanese manga or anything like that, or art pieces, you're getting stuff 50% off essentially. Then you're gonna. Yeah,
I don't understand how the economy works though. So
well, and a lot of this comes off the back, I think, of I don't remember if it was a manga publisher or somebody else that I saw that was like retweeted that the Japanese yen was falling. It was like, hey, like Westerners, we need your money. Please buy stuff from us. Like inject into our economy.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm sure their manga and anime exports are still popping off. I think it's probably elsewhere, but I don't know. I don't understand their economy at all. So
I'm not.
Who the fuck knows? Maybe if you understand the Japanese economy super well, maybe tell us what's going on in the comments.
Leave us a
comment. Keep it short because I'm not super interested in learning much about it.
Link your thesis in the comments. I'll read it.
Yeah.
I read every comment. If it's a full thesis of the Japanese economy, I will do my best.
I won't, but if you put a TLDR at the bottom, I'll read that.
There you go. Cool. I think that's it for news. Gautam, we got some cool news. Why don't you tell me about your one more thing this week?
Yeah, buddy, Slay the Spire 2.
Let's go.
It's okay, guys. Like, if you've ever played a roguelike deck builder, you've played Slay the Spire, so I don't need to talk to you about this. Yeah. But if you haven't played a roguelike deck builder, start with Slay the Spire and then realize how it has no competition on the market despite being like 10 years old. It is a masterwork in game design. This is the most hours I've put into any video game, and I feel like I learn something new every time I play. It's just that good. So Slay the Spire 2, let's see. They have big shoes to fill, which is their own shoes.
Yeah, it kind of seemed like they might be making the same feet to put in those shoes, because it looked very, very similar from what I've seen from the shots. But my guess is that it's going to look familiar to people. They are doing, I believe there was an open beta or open alpha in early 2025 was what this announcement was about. I'm going to guess that they're going to do a beta, and there's going to be, in the way that you play Slay the Spire and you think, oh, I get it. After playing like a little bit with one character, you're like, wait a minute, there's 3 more characters. There's way more cards. There's way more stuff. Incredibly deep game. I'm guessing that this one is hiding its deepness also. Excited.
Oh, for sure. I think so. And it's just a perfect game almost. It's like its art's a little rough, but like balance wise, it's as close to perfect as it can be, and no one has reached that apex. So hopefully they can beat themselves.
Yeah. And it definitely does seem so. They showed us 3 heroes you could play as, and 2 of them are the same as the first game, which is, I don't know, what are they called?
The Silent and the Ironclad.
Yeah, Silent and Ironclad.
Which is the girl on the left and the guy with a sword on his back. And then the new one is like the Necro Binder at the top right.
Is that what it's called? Okay, I wonder.
Yeah.
Because they're never called. You look at them and you're like, oh yeah, it's like Knight and Rogue. It's like, no, they have cool names though.
Yeah.
Necro Binder.
It's this sassy skeleton. Sassy Grim Reaper.
Grim Reaper Skeleton, yeah. Which I'm guessing is this is going to be a completely different play style from the Construct and whatever the
Watcher, yeah.
Yeah, the Watcher.
I think so.
I never drived with the Watcher. I could never. Can't do anything with that class.
That was my favorite class. It was just so overpowered.
The hardest class to play, in my opinion. But yeah, probably the most overpowered if you can.
Insanely busted, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be great. I bet. I'm just looking forward to seeing if they can build their own shoes. Which I'm hoping they can. If not, we'll at least have the second best deck builder released.
Yeah, probably. I mean, we're getting like Hades 2, which is a follow-up to what I think is the best roguelike of all time.
Oh yeah, dude.
Hades 2 is coming end of the year beta, I want to say, or mid-year beta. So, and Slay the Spire. So yeah, I'm ready. Roguelikes popping off. Balatro is great. We've been playing that.
Oh yeah. I've been playing Balatro as well. Balatro is the current second best. It's just incredible.
It's so good. Yeah. It's fun. Cool. I watched the first 5 episodes of the Fallout TV show on Amazon Prime, and it's really good.
Really?
It's
actually
pretty good. Like, I'm not going to say it's like, oh, it's premier HBO television, but it's like one below that. It's like really good TV. Like, I'm liking it a lot. The author, the showrunners, whoever you want to say, the people making it, they get Fallout. They get that it's this like everybody sucks, hyper violent, but also goofy and funny and like haha capitalism.
Yeah.
Like they get all of that, and it's all in the show. I like it a lot. It's got that hyper violent. It's got weird, quirky characters. I like the 3 leads, the 4 leads.
Are they from vaults that we know from the game, or are they from a new vault?
She is from Vault 33, which I think, think is a new vault that has not been discussed. There's like a side plot that kind of is going that I think we're gonna learn. Like if you've played the Fallout games, you kind of know what the quote unquote like secret behind the vaults is. But I think one of the side plots is a guy that's left in the vault, kind of figuring out what's like Vault 33 is connected to 32 and 31. And he's kind of figuring out what's going on there. And there's some weird, obviously shady stuff going. So I won't spoil the kind of, it's not a big reveal, but I won't spoil the kind of what's going on in Fallout with the vaults. But I'm guessing that's where the show is going. And so
like each vault is like an experiment, right? Like they do
essentially
in each vault to the humans. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So that's, I think that's kind of where we're going. Although we don't know what the experiment being run in 32 or 33 or 31 is. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I'm definitely going to finish this tonight. I'm in it. I'm invested. I think it's a good show. All the leads are great. Yeah, and I'm interested in where we're gonna where it's going because it's interesting. I mean, I don't know, it's good. It's interesting. It feels like I'm like thinking about like should we download Fallout 4, which is like not a thing I've thought since playing Fallout 4.
I don't think I think I love Fallout New Vegas. It made me fall in love with Fallout, and then I played the other Fallout games, and then I fell out of love with Fallout.
Yeah. I mean,
that's how I feel about Fallout.
I mean, I liked Fallout 3 a lot because it was just like, oh, it's Skyrim, but you know, guns in DC or whatever. And Fallout 4, I played. I don't think I ever beat it. I liked it, but I played it on launch and it was really buggy and a bit too open worldy for me at times. But I like that era of what is this, Bethesda games that are just like it's Skyrim but X. Like I don't know, that's a good. I wish they just kept doing that. But yeah.
Well, I guess they did. I mean, I can
highly recommend this show. This Fallout show is great.
What they did actually was Skyrim, but Skyrim. They've just been releasing Skyrim.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, cool. I'll have to check it out. I didn't even know it was out, to be honest.
Yeah, well, it came out like when I started watching it like an hour after it came out because it came out yesterday at like 8 or 9 p.m. or something. So.
Final thought, by the way, before we leave. Konosuba season 3 is also out coming out.
Konosuba. Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of anime stuff. Konosuba is out. Episode 1 of Ranger Reject. I think we'll maybe have 2 episodes probably by the time this airs. 2 episodes of Ranger Reject are out. Episode 1 is pretty well regarded on Ranger Go Loser Ranger. Sorry, it's called Go Loser Ranger.
Check it out. I didn't even know that fucking came out, dude.
Yeah, I need to like watch episode 1 and like because I'm gonna go and reread that series pretty soon. Because it's great. Cool.
Man,
I think
excellent.
I think that's it. You got anything else you want to talk about, Gautam? Or are we good?
No, I'm good.
Let's get out of here. Hey, thank you again for listening and watching, everyone. Don't forget to leave us feedback in the comments. Give us an upvote. Give us a thumbs up. Ring the bell. Subscribe. All that good jazz. Check out Twitter and Patreon, which are linked in the description. And tell your friends about us. That's the last thing I'm going to ask you to do. Hey, thank you for being with us yet again this week. Goodbye.
Catch you later.
And don't forget to read more manga.